What's up, everybody? It's your boy Q Hicks, and I'm back with another video reacting to the Ben Simmons and James Harden trade, breaking down why both teams will do it and who won the trade. If this is your first time on the channel, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Now let's dive into it. When James Harden was traded to the Nets in 2021 to be paired up with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, most people assumed this team would be the next dynasty of the NBA. But here we are a little over a year later, and James Harden has been shipped off to Philadelphia. The Sixers get James Harden and Paul Millsap, while the Nets get in return Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. But first, let's dive into why the Nets would trade their superstar guard. First and foremost, Harden really forced their hand. With reports stating that he wasn't going to sign a contract extension in the offseason to stay with Brooklyn, the Nets had little to no choice. It was either lose Harden after the season for nothing or get something in return while you can, and they chose to pull the trigger. It's been getting reported for the past couple of weeks that James Harden was fed up with the Nets organization. With everything going down with Kyrie being part-time, KD's injury, and so much uncertainty moving forward, Harden felt like it was best to jump ship. But an underlying key point was him and Kyrie's relationship. Joe Varden of The Athletic said that the two didn't gel in the locker room and that it was a weird vibe between them. He also stated that Harden was annoyed and Kyrie wasn't feeling James. The Nets were reluctant to trade Harden, but once they were most likely given the go-ahead by Kyrie and KD, they had to trade Harden. The Sixers' reasoning was more obvious. Ben Simmons has been asking to be traded, and the Sixers have been looking to trade him since the summer, and the drama has dragged this far into the season. But Daryl Morey's dream scenario came true. He wanted equal or greater value for Ben Simmons, and he succeeded by snagging Harden. And Ben Simmons got his wish not only of getting out of Philly, but going to a finals contender where he can play his natural game. Now let's look at who won the trade. The Nets got an excellent haul for Harden. They add an all-star player in Ben Simmons who can lock down as a perimeter defender and can guard 1 through 5, and he will be used in a Draymond role for Brooklyn, playing small ball 5, where he can play make and attack the lane since it will be open with all of Brooklyn's shooters. They get a 40% three-point shooter in Seth Curry who can space the floor, which is a need with Joe Harris's season being in question due to an ankle surgery, and get an extra big body in Andre Drummond. And they received 2 first-round picks that can be used for future roster building not only in the draft, but through trade. For the Sixers, they get the best player out of the deal without giving up their young players like Tyrese Maxey and Matisse Thybulle. And for a lot of reasons, that should make them winners of this trade, and that Embiid and Harden pick and roll could be unstoppable. But honestly, both teams won the trade. Both teams were put in a corner by their stars and made the best out of it. But if I had to choose, I would say the Nets. Getting this type of haul will not only help their championship window for the next 2 to 3 years, but for years to come if they are smart with facilitating these draft picks. They were in talks for Miles Turner at the trade deadline and could look for an even bigger name in the summertime, while the Sixers look to build out more depth with limited funds. Looking ahead to the future for the Nets and the Sixers, obviously both are top teams in the Eastern Conference if everything goes the Nets' way with KD's injury and Kyrie becoming full-time in the near future. I think the Nets' new big three can come together rather quickly with Simmons' style of play, but Kyrie's part-time play and KD's injury timeline could throw a wrench in that. From the Sixers' point of view, my biggest question is how fast can Harden and Embiid gel before the postseason. Both players will need time to adapt to the other, especially with Embiid being so dominant in the post and Harden spending most of his time in the lane. But Harden has shown with his situation in Brooklyn that he can change his game. I think their championship window is 2 years, with Harden opting into his player option. They have 2 years to win a championship before Harden could be looking for another destination. After all of the trades that went down at the deadline, I think the East comes down to 4 teams. The Bucks, the Heat, the Sixers, with the Nets a distant 4th until everything is figured out. All of these teams have their pros and cons, but I would say the Bucks are the favorites right now. They are the defending champs and Giannis is looking as dominant as ever, but all have a legit chance to come out of the East. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. If you got all the way to the end, I really rock with you. If this is your first time on the channel, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter and let me know what you would like to see next. And we out. Peace.